If your pivot table totals look wrong, you're usually not dealing with bad math. You're dealing with one of a few specific pivot table rules that quietly change how numbers add up. In this video, I'll help you diagnose the exact cause fast and fix it without rebuilding your report. We'll start with the most common trap, values being counted or averaged when you expected a sum. Then we'll move into duplicates, blanks, and hidden rows that can throw totals off. After that, we'll cover calculated fields, rounding, and why subtotals can disagree with grand totals. Finally, we'll look at data model pivots and the distinct count situation, because that's a different engine with different behavior. The goal is simple. You should be able to look at a wrong total and immediately know which lever to pull, and you'll finish with a quick checklist you can reuse every time this happens. Next step. First, confirm what wrong means. A pivot table can be wrong in 3 different ways. 1. The grand total doesn't match your manual sum in the source. 2. Row totals look right, but the grand total is off. Or 3. The total is mathematically correct, but it's not the business definition you intended. That last one happens a lot with averages, rates, and distinct counts. So before changing anything, pick one cell that looks wrong and trace it. Ask 2 questions. What records should be included, and what calculation should be used? If you can answer those, the fix becomes mechanical. Also, check whether you're comparing like with like. If your manual sum includes filtered out rows or includes duplicates you didn't intend, the pivot table is doing its job, not failing. In the next scenes, we'll go from the fastest checks to the deeper ones so you don't waste time chasing the wrong problem. Next step. The fastest fix is in value field settings. Pivot tables guess the calculation based on the data type. If your amount column has even one blank, one text value, or one stray space, Excel may switch from sum to count. Or it may use average when you expected sum, especially in copied pivots. So click into the values area mentally and ask, am I summing, counting, averaging, or taking max? Then set it explicitly. Also check the number format. A total can look wrong if it's displayed as 0 decimals, currency, or thousand separators that hide precision. And if you're using show values as, like % of total or running total, the grand total will follow that rule, not raw sum. Make sure you're looking at the base measure first. This single check fixes a huge percentage of wrong totals reports. Next step. Next, validate the source numbers themselves. The most common hidden issue is numbers stored as text. They look like numbers, but they don't behave like numbers. A pivot table may count them or treat them as 0 in a sum, depending on context. Another issue is invisible characters, like non-breaking spaces from copied data. Those can turn a clean numeric column into mixed types. Also watch for blanks that are not truly blank, like a formula returning an empty string. That can still change how Excel classifies the field. A practical approach is to create a helper column in the source that forces numeric conversion, like using value or multiplying by 1, then refresh the pivot table. If the totals suddenly make sense, you've confirmed the root cause. Fixing the source data is better than patching the pivot table because every report downstream benefits. Next step. Now let's talk about duplicates, because duplicates create totals that are perfectly calculated, yet still wrong. If your source table has repeated rows or repeated transaction IDs, a pivot table will happily add them all. The key is deciding whether duplicates are legitimate, like multiple line items, or accidental, like an import appended twice. A quick test is to add the record identifier into the rows area temporarily and see if the same ID appears more than expected. If you need to count unique records, a normal pivot table can't do distinct count, unless you use the data model. Another workaround is to deduplicate the source with Power Query or a helper column that flags the first occurrence. The important point is this: pivot tables don't know your business rules. Next step. Filters are another big reason totals don't match expectations. There are 3 filter layers to check. Report filters at the top, field filters inside a row or column field, and manual item selections, where only some items are ticked. Any of these can exclude records silently. Also, slicers can filter multiple pivots at once, sometimes in ways you forget. Another subtlety is filtering by label versus filtering by value. A value filter like top 10 can change as data changes, which makes totals feel inconsistent. And if you're using date grouping, like months or quarters, you might be filtering grouped buckets, not the raw dates. The fix is to clear filters methodically, confirm the full total, then reapply filters intentionally. When you do that, the pivot table becomes predictable again. Next step. Here's a classic head-scratcher. Row totals look right, but the grand total is wrong. Often, that's because the pivot table is not summing the visible rows. It's recalculating from the underlying records. This matters when you use calculated items, when you show values as percentages, or when you have items that overlap logically. Another common cause is rounding. If each row is rounded to 2 decimals, the sum of displayed rows can differ from the grand total computed from full precision. That's not an error, it's a display issue. If your business needs the displayed rows to add up exactly, you may need to round in the source data, not just in formatting. Or you can add a helper column that rounds at the transaction level. The main lesson is, pivot grand totals are based on raw data, not on what you visually add up. Next step. Calculated fields and calculated items deserve their own warning. A calculated field works at the row level of the source data, then aggregates. That's usually fine. But a calculated item works inside the pivot table items, and it can produce totals that surprise you, especially with subtotals and grand totals. For example, a calculated item like East plus West can double count if East and West are already part of the total. Also, calculated items can disable some features and slow down refresh. If totals look off and you see any custom formulas inside the pivot, test by removing the calculated item and recreating the logic in the source data or in a measure. In many cases, moving the calculation upstream is cleaner and more reliable. Pivot tables are great at summarizing. They're less great as a place to invent new business logic on the fly. Next step. Another cause is the pivot table cache and refresh behavior. A pivot table doesn't auto-update just because the source changed. If you added rows, edited values, or changed formulas, the pivot table can be showing old totals. Also confirm the source range. If your pivot is based on a fixed range, new rows might be outside it, so they never get included. The best practice is to use an Excel table as the source, because it expands automatically. Then refresh the pivot table, and if you have multiple pivots, consider refreshing all. If you're pulling from external data, refresh timing can matter too, because one query might update after the pivot refresh. The fix is simple. Lock in a dynamic source and refresh in the right order. A wrong total is sometimes just a stale total. Next step. Let's cover the data model case, because it changes the rules. If your pivot table is built from the data model, you can use distinct count and measures, and totals may behave differently than classic pivots. Distinct count is a common wrong total complaint. You might expect the grand total to equal the sum of the rows, but distinct counts don't add that way when the same idea appears in multiple categories. The grand total is the distinct count across the whole filtered dataset. That's correct, but it can feel wrong. The way to handle it is to be explicit about what you want. Distinct per category or distinct overall. Sometimes you need separate measures or a different layout to avoid misleading comparisons. When you recognize a data model pivot, you stop trying to fix it like a classic pivot. Next step. Here's a practical troubleshooting flow you can reuse. Step 1. Confirm the aggregation. Sum, count, average, or something else. Step 2. Check for text numbers, blanks, and mixed data types in the source. Step 3. Look for duplicates and decide whether you need distinct logic. Step 4. Clear filters and slicers, then reapply them intentionally. Step 5. Think about rounding and whether you're comparing displayed values versus full precision. Step 6. Check calculated fields or items, and remove them as a test. Step 7. Confirm the source range includes all rows, then refresh. And Step 8. If it's a data model pivot, treat totals as measure logic, not simple addition. If you follow that order, you'll solve most cases in minutes, not hours, and you'll be able to explain the why, which is what stakeholders actually need. Next step. To wrap up, pivot tables rarely calculate wrong. They usually calculate exactly what they were told, based on field settings, source data quality, and filter context. If you remember just two things, make them these. First, set the value calculation explicitly and don't trust the default guess. Second, fix issues in the source whenever you can, because that prevents the same problem from showing up in every new pivot. If you want, I can also share a quick template checklist you can keep in your workbook notes so you never have to relearn this. Now I'm curious about your situation. Are your totals wrong because of duplicates or because of text numbers and blanks? A or B? Leave just A or B in the comments. And if you want more Excel troubleshooting walkthroughs like this, subscribe. Subscribe to keep optimizing your workflow and get back more of your time.